the emergency motion hearing that Karl was talking about a few weeks ago was, if you put in a, an ex parte motion, an emergency hearing where you want to let them know, look, there's a crime been committed, somebody took my property, I require restoration of property, and they're going to deny you because they're going to say, you're talking about your children and all that stuff. Well, you've given them notice, and now you can take that into your court when you file your claim and show how they failed to do what they're supposed to do as an administrative court. So you can take the CPS, you can take all that paperwork into your claim and use it as evidence against them later. So that's the purpose of doing that emergency ex parte hearing.
When did he ask that?
Melissa just sent me a list of questions on Skype to ask you, and I wasn't going to ask, but I figured you were on.
The easiest way to do this stuff is, like I said, a lot of times people, the courts are open 24/7. And you could have a hearing, like I said, like I explained on my earlier shows, man. When I explained to the judge, I said if it's December 24th, 3 a.m. or December 25th, 3:07 a.m. and I want to convene court, what must you do? He said, let's be reasonable about this, Mr. Lentz. I said, I'm very reasonable, man. What must you do? He said, well, I got to get dressed and drive 100 miles up here. I said, yeah, and I looked over the prosecutor for the social services, the state. I said, and what does he got to do? He said, well, the sheriff's department will go wake him up and drag him over here, too. That's right, and if he ain't here, within a reasonable time, like an hour or two, he's going to be held in contempt of court, correct? Yeah. And I looked at the prosecutor. I said, do you understand what I can do? This is my court. So what was funny is, this is what I try to tell people. Say there was a dog involved here or anything. Say there was a goldfish involved. You say, look, this guy's got to put the fish back in a water bowl or it's going to be dead in 2 minutes. We got to convene court now. I ain't going to wait for my, 500-pound goldfish or that's I've been raising it for the last 20 years to die. And then you're going to compensate me. No, there's an emergency. We're going to have this hearing now. That's my property. And we need to have the hearing immediately. Like I said, they did that not too long ago with like some cattle. Not those folks out there in California, those crazy Bundys, but there was another folks I think up in Montana or North Dakota, South Dakota, and what they did is the sheriff's department hired people to round up the cattle, put them up in like stockyard. And fed them and watered them. But this stuff is going to cost a freaking fortune to actually, instead of just letting them be free roaming, to actually have to feed these cattle, round them all up, put them in the stockyard. So obviously the parties want to settle it as quickly as possible. Well, this is going to get damn expensive. It's just like, then just keep the damn cattle. The state government, the feds, and just keep it because it is the amount of money you want to give us to do this, to bill us is ridiculous. So we got to get this done. In a matter of minutes. So like I said, when you say it's an emergency, it's an emergency. And then like Gus was saying, that's correct. You show them that you said, look, this is an emergency. And I ain't got time to wait 21 days for you to answer. You better move, you better take it out of out of their custody and put it into a custody of a neutral party. Put it into federal custody. Put it into a county custody or a state custody or a church custody. You turn it over to the church. Get somebody else in between. Just say, look, they're damaging it and they're going to cause it harm, and I need it out of their custody immediately. If you don't do your job, Bob, acting as magistrate, I'm going to hold you liable as well, Bob. But like I said, if you don't pull down their mask, if you don't pull down that person, and you don't say, hey, yeah, you might be dressed as a magistrate. Yeah, you're wearing a cool wig as a judge. Yeah, but you know what? Bob, you're still a man, and you understand I'm a man. And you understand if you don't do your job, it's going to cause me great harm. And I'm going to have to hold you liable too, Bob. I don't want to, but I'm going to have to hold you liable too. So you better go off your ass and do it. And like I said, I can almost guarantee almost everything, I could almost say 100% of the people who listen to my show right now, could not convince a judge to open up the court on Christmas Day at 3:07 a.m. I mean, I did it in England. You know, me and Bob was like, well, screw it, man. You missed the. Okay, we got in there at 4:27. They closed the doors at 4:30. Well, we got the case filed, but now we need to pay for it. So they will actually put it. You know, they will actually put it. We got the stamp of the court on there that you did come here and you filed it on this day, but for it to be placed into the files to be recorded has to be. We have to pay for it, or they're not going to proceed with it. They're just going to let it sit there in the outbox, or the inbox, whatever, and wait for you to pay to actually put it into a file, to get somebody to put it into a filing cabinet to actually file it. I said, so it's just going to sit there and rot. I said, the only problem is we need to get to court, you know, at 10 o'clock in the morning. You know, we got a 3-hour ride. We can't sit around here and wait we got to get to the court at 9 o'clock in the morning, and this court don't open up until 10. So you know what? Let's go out to the car. Let's go walk around London a little bit. I'm hungry. Let's go get something to eat, take some pictures, and come back at 8, 9 o'clock and open this courthouse up. And he's like, what? I said, yeah, let's just go walk around for a little bit. Let's sightsee a little bit, man, and come back in a couple hours and open this court up. So we opened it up at 8 o'clock. Knocked on a big old, like, looking castle door. And like, can I help you? It's like, yeah, we got some business with the court. It's like, yeah, come back at 10 o'clock. No, we're here now. We got business now. Open up the door. And that's when I always tell people, you know, I push Bali like he was in a wash machine kind of thing. He was like, he was being pushed one way from the security guards, and I was pushing him the other way. And it was funny as hell. He just, like, curled up in a ball, standing there. It's fine. Push him right through the door. I said, no way in. The guy's like, we're going to get the head of security. I said, you better get the head of security because you don't have a clue what you're doing. And then that's why it's on my website. It says how to do out-of-hours filings, how to use the courthouse after hours, out of hours. And I guarantee that's the biggest courthouse on planet Earth. So I could open that courthouse up. Anybody could open up any courthouse, but you've got to know how to do it. And it's a lifestyle. You just, you know, like, I'm not taking no for an answer. You know, Bali was more than willing to take no for an answer. Like, oh, look, I'll see. The guy told us no, it's closed. I said, dude, you've been living in England too long. You don't got this rebellious streak or this, you know, you ain't got this, I'm an American. I'm not American. Don't tell me I can't. I'm an American. I'm not an American. I said, I'm getting in.
I haven't heard anybody say that in a long time.
What's that?
American.
Yeah, I'm not an American. I'm an American. I said, yeah, King George tried to tell me to do something, you know, 200 years ago. See how well that worked for him. That didn't work out too well. He told my daddy's daddy that, too. And it didn't work out too well for him either, did it? I'm coming in. Like, look, I don't care. Arrest me. I don't give a shit. Arrest me. And then I'll explain to them why I did what I did. And I guarantee a judge somewhere in this building will say, well, okay, technically the courts are open 24/7. It's like, yes. It's right there like in Blackstone's commentary. You go back to Cope and Littleton. You go back as far as you want. The courts are always open. What part of always open don't you understand? You know? So, like I said, if you have a really good judge, like I did on the 30th hearing trial down there in Alabama, Judge William Owings, thank God, he actually knew the rules. And thank God, man, it's funny, watching the state prosecutors on the other side, they did not know the rules. They started laughing at me when I started barking out the rules. I was asking the judge, questioning about the rules. And the judge was spitting out the answers exactly the way I wanted him to spit it out. It was like, holy crap. And the other side stopped laughing. They're like, holy shit, what's going on here? No, the court's open from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. What's called it? What? The judge is agreeing with this guy. Holy crap. What? It's like because they were attorneys. They didn't have to be a judge. They didn't have to know the rules of the court. All they had to do is know how to move their stupid, silly paperwork into the court and just lie their asses off once they got there. And that's what we were doing on Angela's show. That was funny. That guy sounded like a real nice guy, the guy on Angela's show last Thursday, and Angela wanted me to come on and say something. And I was like, no, I'm not going to bother because he sounds like he's got a lovely voice. He sounds like a nice man. He sounds pleasant. And he's just reading citations. You know, he's like, When you're reading citations, you're basically telling me I don't have a mind of my own. I'm just reading some opinions from somebody else had 100, 200 years ago. And like I told people, like a citation is ridiculous. Because Gus could have been sued by, I don't know, by his state government for some reason. Or he could have done a criminal activity by his state government, and then the state could come after me, said I did the same thing. It's like, no, I didn't. It was a different time. The facts are different. The witnesses are different. The evidence is different. The parties are different. There's nothing similar to my case and Gus's case. What are you talking about? So they're going to say, well, state of New Hampshire versus Gus, 2006. It's like, give a damn. That was between you and Gus. Whatever happened back then, I don't have a clue. I wasn't there. You weren't there. And it's like, I don't care how they ruled. Because me and Gus, if you say me and Gus even have the same exact crime that day, we were both there at the same time, committing the same wrong at the same time. Gus could be found guilty. I could be found not guilty. Gus could have stuck his tongue out of the judge. Gus could have dropped his fucking drawers and said, Judge, kiss this. And Gus, maybe he wasn't guilty, but the judge just said, you know what? I don't like your attitude. You're guilty. Carl, I like your attitude. You're not guilty. Have a nice day, Carl. So what does it matter? It's ridiculous. It's like it's that obiter dictum stuff. It's the judge's opinion. What did the judge witness? And like I said, that's like a word that you see sometimes in appellate cases. When it is an appellate case, the judge will actually write to his buddy judges in the superior court and say, look, you didn't see what I saw in my courtroom. You weren't there. All you see is what you see in black and white. You didn't see the temperament of Gus and the temperament of Carl. You didn't see what Gus was doing in the court and what Carl was doing. Carl was remorseful. Gus was just laughing the whole motherfucking time. But the transcriber couldn't write down Gus was rolling his eyes. Gus was snickering. The judge, the court reporter, the transcriber lady, she's not writing Gus was snickering. Gus was laughing. Gus fell asleep. Gus was snoring. Gus was sticking his tongue out. Gus pulled his pants down. She's not writing that. And they could say, well, Carl was remorseful and he was like begging for forgiveness. It's like, okay, so, Carl said this and Gus didn't say that. Carl took all liability. Gus wouldn't. Carl accepted the charges. Gus wouldn't. So just because it's Carl and Gus could have been doing something at the same exact time, at the same exact place, with the same exact whatever, with the same witnesses, facts, and evidence, how did they appear when they got to court? What was their appearance? How did they appear? So like I said, when I hear, they'll say, well, Carl versus Gus, or Gus versus, state of New Hampshire versus Gus, 2015, state of New Hampshire versus Carl in 2015. Could be completely opposite rulings. The witnesses will be the same, evidence, facts, it still will be the same. But what was the manner or the appearance of the parties when they were before the court? So when you want to use citations, what did I do, Gus? I was just making all those attorney jokes like crazy. That's what I did. It's like, like Andrew kept saying, well, Carl, do you want to say something to this guy? It's like, no, I can't take this guy serious. This is a joke. This is a comedy, 2-3 hours worth of comedy. Nice man, lovely man, just like Carl Miller. Nice man, lovely man. He's not telling me anything I could use. Like it's funny. It's like if you went to a doctor and the doctor, if I went to get a medical checkup right now, the doctor would say to me, well, how you feeling? Feeling pretty good. You say, well, if you eat an apple today, when did you go to the bathroom tomorrow? He'll say, yeah. So, well, he said you have a very fine constitution. Well, I say, well, thank you. I know I do. So it's like how something is organized or structured, and how does it function? Article 1, I got a mouth and I chew it. Article 2, I got a stomach and it digests it. Article 3, I got a colon and it expels it. I got a wonderful constitution. Whoopie-doo. It's my constitution. Constitution of the United States? Look, dude, I don't give a damn about Bob's constitution, Billy's constitution, Susie's constitution, United States' constitution. I only care shit about Karl Lentz's constitution, maybe, and obviously my family's constitution, how they're feeling, how they're organized, how they're structured, if they're working, if they're functioning properly. I don't give a shit about somebody else's constitution. It's not my constitution. Well, the Constitution clearly says, whose constitution? Mine? Well, no. Well, what are we talking about? Well, Article 4, Article 3, dude, I don't care. I don't effing care. Like, well, President Obama's not abiding by Article. It doesn't matter because it's not his. He's going to say, you know what? It's not mine. It's like, well, that was from some Constitution written 200 years ago. That was from some United States of America. We don't have the United States. He's like, I'm not operating on the United States of America. I'm operating as under the government of the United States. It's not the same as the United States of America. It's not the same as the government of the United States. It's not the same. And I remember, Gus, you did that one time. You said you listened to Barack Obama's speech, and you kept putting it in different like letters or highlighting it. Like when you said America, U.S. citizens. What's that?
Yeah, I went back and grabbed that speech from, I think it was October 17th. I forgot what year. You had mentioned it on a Talkshoe, and I went and got it, and I color-coded all the different types of words in there because it really brings it out. It really makes it stand out what he's actually saying.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun watching him say U.S. citizens or citizens of the United States or state citizens or the people.
The American people.
or the American people or Americans. It's a lot of fun because his speechwriters, it's funny. It's like his speechwriters wrote a paragraph about Americans, a paragraph about U.S. citizens, a paragraph about citizens of the United States, and what they did is, this is a lot of fun what they do, is they got 3 paragraphs with like 3 sentences. So they'll take 1 sentence out of the first paragraph, 1 sentence out of the second paragraph, and 1 sentence out of the third paragraph, and that's the first paragraph. Then I'll take the second sentence, and that'll be the second paragraph. So they jumble it around. But it sounds wonderful, but it's all jumbled. So like I said, I know you did that, Gus. You said, yeah, you took it apart. It's like, yeah, he's all over the map with this thing. It's like, yeah. But if you actually just take out what he said about Americans, it'll all make sense. If he takes out what he said about U.S. citizens, it'll all make sense. He'll have jurisdiction and authority over U.S. citizens, and then he'll be able to say Americans, and that is accurate in accordance to Americans. So it's just a lot of fun. You know, I know with the speechwriters, just like you said last week, you know, you guys, you know, you got a cool little legislator up there in New Hampshire where auto mechanics could be a state legislator, meter maids could be, you know, a fry cook could be a legislator up there. You know, you said what, they get paid $1 a year or $5 a year?
They get $100 a year. Senators and state reps get $100 a year, plus travel expenses.
Right, so you could be a pizza parlor owner, and you know, like your buddy, he owns an auto mechanic shop. He's a state legislator.
Yeah, my 3 state reps over here. One of them's a car mechanic. The other one owns a tree service, and the other one's a real estate guy. Perfect.
That's what it should be. That's what should make up everybody's legislative around the world. That should be how legislative houses should be established, because they represent the people, you know. But what's funny is you guys could come up with these wonderful laws for the people, and then, like you said last week, they turn it over to, you said on Angela's show, they turn it over to legal services.
Yep.
And did you say to Angela why? Or did I talk to you about why they turn it over to legal services?
I don't remember if we covered it, but in order for the law for the statutes to be consistent and to get the right words and the right status, and Obama's speech looked like it was written by legal services.
Yeah, well, like I said, is you can, when you legislative guys sit around, you're all writing in common law what you would like to see your fellow man doing with the fellow man, or together as a society, or ordering or demanding, requiring of your fellow man. Legal services realizes you got no control over this. Legal services realizes this will never stick. Legal services realizes, you know what, you can't must to any man on planet Earth, but what you can do is you could you could say shall, but you can't say must, because you have no power or authority to tell any man what to do. So legal services will put the word shall in instead. So it says, well, sometime in the future, but not right now. You have to get a driver's license. So see what they're doing, the legal services is smart, because normal people who are in the legislative thinks it's a democracy and thinks it's mob rule, and thinks that it's two wolves deciding two wolves and a chicken deciding what's for dinner, and that's a democracy, and that's what you guys try to play when you do legislatives in these states. The legal services realizes, no, we live in a republic, and that's like a republic is like, everybody always hears that, you got two wolves and a chicken deciding what's for dinner. And a republic is a well-armed chicken contesting the vote. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's balancing it out. That's a republic. You're going to balance it out.
Yep.
There's a man going to be involved here. You can't tell another man what to do. And if you want to order another man to do, you're going to have to compensate him. But you're going to have to come to an agreement with that man. You can't force the man. You can't order the man. You could order him. You could order him and say, well, this is an order for your death. Okay, that's fine. I will go to death, but you're going to have to, and then whatever, fill in the blank. I'll consent to your order, but you're going to have to allow me to live for another, 102 years. And I was like, oh, well, we can't force him, but okay, that's the order. I'll carry it out in 102 years. Whatever. You can't order somebody to their death, and they're just can do it, not in a republic. In a democracy, absolutely. So that's why when you hear the word democracy on TV news shows, man, that's the most ugly, evil word, man, you could possibly imagine. Because if all the Muslims get together and say, we're going to kill all the Christians or we're going to kill all the Jews in a democracy, well, what are you going to do? The mob rules. The people have voted. Democracies are just effing evil. I mean, I can't imagine a more evil form. I'd rather have anarchy, where there is no form of government and everybody has to, just basically go back to natural law. If you don't want your neighbor to do that to you, don't do it to him. That's natural law. We don't need to have it written down. We don't need to have an established, like in Alaska. Eskimos don't need they just live by natural law. If you wouldn't want your neighbor to do that to your igloo, don't do it to mine. They don't need to have a whole bunch of people get together and establish the rules. They've been living up there for 10,000 years just fine. And that would be called anarchy because there is no centralized form of government. But does it mean that they're lawless people? Absolutely not. Because no matter whether you're running around naked and doing all kinds of crazy crap, there's still laws that bind you. It's still called natural law. Gravity still will affect you. Being stupid will still affect you. Sniffing glue will still affect you. You say, well, there's no more laws. I can sniff all the glue I want. I can sniff all the cocaine I want. Yeah, that's right. There's no more law. Oh, yeah, guess what, buddy? Go ahead and sniff all the cocaine you want. You'll be dead in about 20 minutes. There is still a law called natural law, and you will die by the laws of nature. So go ahead and think that you're a smart guy and say, wow, no more law. I can do whatever I want. Anarchy. Yeah, go ahead. So long that you'll last. You're still going to have to abide by some sort of law. Anarchy just means that there's no centralized government established to create law. But it doesn't mean that there isn't law that's already existed on a universe for the last 10 trillion years. There's always been law. But yeah, like I said, these legal people, they're not creating any laws that can control man. They're not creating, well, if they try to, legal services will correct them. They say, you can't do that. That's a lovely law you're thinking of making. It's like that Nancy Pelosi. It's like, well, we don't know what the law is until we sign it, until we see how, it works, until somebody challenges it. Because it's like, this is a lot of good theory, that you sign these laws into, pass all these things into law. Yeah, great. That's a great theory. But, until it actually affects somebody and somebody says, whoa. You just trespassed upon my right to do this. You trespassed upon my right to do this. It's like, look, you can create all the freaking laws you want. And then when you put them into action, that's fine. Go ahead and enact them. That's, I don't care. But then until somebody brings it up to our attention, you can't do that. I'm a man. And by doing that, you interfered or infringed upon this right or this civil right or this right as a man. You can't do that. It's like somebody will challenge it and take us to court over it. So it's like, you know what? Yeah, go ahead. Sign every damn thing at the law. I don't give a damn. Sign all that amount of paperwork. Who cares? You come knocking on my door bothering me about something. I say, what gives you the right to come knocking on my door and solicit me? What's going on? Well, this law says this. Oh, really? Do you realize by the enactment of this law and then knocking on my door, you're causing me harm, injury, or loss? Oh, no, we didn't know that. Oh, good. I'll see you in court. And that's how you get the law overturned. But you know what? Go ahead. Sign any kind of crazy shit to law. I don't give a damn. I'm not going to stand there and argue. Go ahead. I'll enact every damn thing. And then when you try to carry it out, and I remind you, no, I'm a man. That law has nothing to do with me. That has to do with some crazy United States citizen. I'm no crazy United States citizen. I'm no person. So like I said, I think I got that covered pretty good on this show so far tonight. Keep telling people like a broken record, man. You don't require, like this guy did, he said he required the Ontario Royal Courts of Justice, Ontario Supreme Court to restore his property, so that's ridiculous. That's why I give you a hard time all the time. So like I'm going into a building. Says that's what this guy did. He required a building to do something. It's like I require the building to restore my property. And it's just that made me laugh. And like I said, you could tell he was mixing my stuff with his stuff, well, my stuff with legal stuff. He was just all over the map. He was just all over the place. And he was just basically saying that, I don't know if I read that to you before or not, but he just said, I delivered an affidavit to a judge in which she read out loud, I am man require the Ontario Court of Justice to restore my property, Isaac J. Leggett. So what kind of property is Isaac J. Leggett? Well, what is that, a skateboard? What is that, a hula hoop? What's an Isaac J. Leggett? I don't know, freaking clue. Neither does a judge lady. She don't freaking clue. I say, restore my property, see Exhibit A. You put a picture of a fucking kid in there. You kid in there, that's fine. You gave him a title, you gave him a name. What's wrong with you? It's nobody's damn business what his effing name is. Why are you giving away your kid's name? I said, because all you got in life is your word and your name. Why did you just give your kid's name away? Why did you just give it out there to the public? It's nobody's damn business in the public what your kid's name is. What the fuck? Like I said, when this guy wrote this stuff, I was like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Putting your kid's name out there. I was telling him before with you. If you think those hieroglyphic-looking pictures, shaped like a letter E, shaped like a letter O, if you actually think those cute little drawings that people make, those cute little letters, those cute little, that's an O, and that's an A, and that's an I. If you really think that you see something on that paper, and you believe what you see on that paper is true or real or has power or control over you, that's insane. It's a piece of paper with doodles on it. Well, look deeply into it. Look deeply into what? It's like those funny squiggly pictures in the malls at those kiosks. Well, look deeply into those squiggles, and what do you see? I don't see an effing thing. Well, look at this paper that I got from the court. Okay, it's a piece of paper with all the squiggly shit on it. And? Well, no, Carl. I said, look. Fortunately for me, my dad could not read. Very fortunate for me. My dad could not write. I'm very, 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 very fucking lucky man. All you poor bastards had dads who could read and write. I feel sorry for you people. My dad could not read or write. So no matter what squiggly piece of paper they put in front of him, you say, this has nothing to do with me. I didn't write it. And I'm certainly not signing it. I'm not going to be held liable to this, because I certainly wouldn't agree to anything. It's ridiculous nonsense. Is there some man who's going to hold this piece of paper up and stand there and say I've done something wrong? Yes or no? No, well, then get the fuck out of my face. So I feel pity for all you poor bastards that had dads that could read and write, because they actually read something, come home from work, open up the mail, read something. Oh, no, the IRS is coming after me, and they go up and sit and throw paper and throw shit everywhere. Oh, my God, they read something else. Oh, my God, they're reading newspapers. Oh, my God. You let all these little squiggly drawings, designs, hieroglyphics, letters, numbers on a piece of paper make you guys have freaking heart attacks, make you guys sweat. It's ridiculous. That's how they're controlling you, because you believe you see something on a piece of paper. Oh, look at that painting. What painting? At that kiosk over there. Look at all those squiggly lines. What do you see in there? I don't see a damn thing. I see squiggly lines. So luckily for me, like I said, you see this 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5, 6, 7-year-old kid walking by and pointing out every damn thing in those squiggly lines. Oh, look, Mommy, an elephant. Oh, Mommy, look, a cow. Oh, Mommy, look, the pony. Oh, Mommy, look at a unicorn. I was like, where do you see that fucking kid? Where do you see that? He's like, oh, look, I see it. It's like, Jesus, Lord. Am I just thick as a brick? Can I just not see something? I mean, how is it so self-evident to this kid? And I could look at this thing for the rest of my life, and I will never fucking understand what he sees. So that's the way I feel like when I tell people that, look, it's just a piece of paper with squiggly lines and letters and just doodles on it. Why are you letting this impact you? It's like, well, if you don't let it impact you, they're going to come after you. I was like, okay, fair enough. You know what? You know what I'm going to see? I'm going to see the word summons, and I'm going to see the date and the time. You know what? And I'm going to appear. That, I'll let it have an impact, because you're right. They will come after me with a gun. So you know what? I will take that word summons. I'll believe it's real. I'll believe there's a date, and I'll believe there's a time to be there. You're absolutely right. And as soon as I get there in person, I'll switch it around so fast it's not even funny. Just like they were Bali. Yeah, there's a summons. Yeah, there's a date. Yeah, there's a time. We'll be there. Yeah, I'll be in person. Yeah, for about a tenth of a second. And that's as far as I'm going to let them take me. Because, yeah, I had to appear in person for a tenth of a second. Why? Because you have a gun. That's why. And I understand why you need the guns. Because 100% of the people out there, other than like somebody like me, wouldn't respect you without a gun. I understand why you're doing what you're doing. And I appreciate what you're doing. But, yeah, these normal people out there, yeah, unless under force of threat or gunpoint, they ain't coming in willingly. And somebody said that to me the other day. I said, look, however crazy and it seems like so crazy and forceful the court systems gets or the government gets is because the people are getting out of control. So the reflection of the size of the government is the reflection of the people in which they must govern. Like Teddy Roosevelt said, if you won't govern yourself, we'll govern you. It's that simple. If you won't, respect your neighbor's property, we'll jump in. If you won't do the right things, we'll do the right things. Your mommy, daddy don't raise you properly, we'll raise you properly. Like I said to one of my very first shows on there, I was like, he said they feel bad for like the black folks out there. They had their families destroyed, 40, 50 years ago. Daddies were taken out of the picture. The government is like, you know what? Now we're going to control these folks. And 90% of the people in any kind of prison is like black folks. Like, why? Because I said, well, you didn't have dads to raise you, so we'll take control of you. And like I said, the more brotherhood, man, they really loved my shows in the beginning because they used to say, look, even this white guy's telling you people. They play from my shows in their little clubs and their little seminars. And they say, look, this white guy's laying it out to us crystal clear. Do you not understand what in charge, like these white Democrats in charge, have been doing to us as a people? Do you not see it? If we don't come together as a community, as a group, if we don't solidify this and come together and have dads back in our lives, do you understand? They're trying to eradicate us. Do you understand what they're doing? Also, like I said, like their populations are, decreasing. The Mexican populations are increasing. Yeah, because wetback Mexicans are beautiful, lovely people. They're hardworking people. They stay together as communities. You don't see them calling up the cops every 5 seconds on each other. You don't see them. You see them keeping a family structure. You see them going to Catholic churches. They're staying together as a community. They're staying tight. So like I said, I don't have much to say about Chicanos, man, but I love wetback people. Because they're very, very tight. They haven't become like a United States. They haven't become Americanized. They're still decent people that work hard, bust ass, and go to work from sunrise to sunset.
Yeah, my dad was doing a big construction job in Boston, and there was a Mexican who had just gotten his green card, came over, got a job. And he told my dad, he says, look, my uncle would like to come over, but he has to have a job before he can come over here legally. And he says, would you be willing to give him a job? And my dad says, if he works like you do, no problem. And he says, yep. And so in the year and a half that this job was running, my dad brought over 11 guys that were all from the same family in Mexico. And, he signed for them to have work when they got there. So they all came over legally. And then Sergio had his daughter, and, like a year or two after that, and he wanted my dad to be the godfather. And he did. My dad accepted, and he became, like part of their family. They're real tight.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The worst thing the government could do to these Mexicans coming over the border is give them free food, free housing, free welfare, free everything. And they'll do what they did to the black folks. They'll make them totally dependent on the government. They'll break down the family structure. They won't want to go to work. They'll think everything is, they deserve everything. Everything should be entitled to them. So hopefully they'll say, no, you know what, we want to work. We want to, work 100, 200 hours a week, and we want to bust ass, and we want to do it on our own.
Okay, that's what I found. The guys that are in the Boston area, the guys from Mexico, they fucking work hard. They're really good workers.
Right. So like I said, I got nothing bad to say about those folks. So it's funny. Like I said, the More Brotherhood used to really listen to my show. I don't know if they listen to my show anymore. But they said they would call me up during the week, and they said, you said a lot of wonderful, powerful things. I said, well, good. I said, I hope I'm helping your people. I said, because I'm telling you, if you guys don't pull your shit together, this government is going to run you guys out of here, one way or the other, man. Either you people are going to all be incarcerated from the time you're 14 years old until the time you're 50, so you can't breed, or you're going to just say, man, how do we get the hell out of this country and put me back on a boat and send my ass back over to the African continent, man, because I'm done with this clown. I'm done with these clowns here in the United States. I said, you people better get your shit together quick. I said, if you think the government's here to help you, you're already effing mine. I said, can't you see what they're doing to you as a people? I said, you guys better tighten it up, and you better act like a community. And I don't mean violently. I mean, you better go and start kicking ass like these Mexicans do, These Mexicans, they got their Mexican neighborhoods. They keep them tight. They keep them clean. The Chinese, the Vietnamese, they got their neighborhoods. They keep them tight. They keep them clean. They police themselves. They do a good job. You guys better start taking care of your own shit and stop waiting for the government to come in and save your ass. You think they're going to do something to help you? You're crazy. You don't see the Chinese, the Vietnamese, the Mexicans going crazy every time something happens. I said, you guys better tighten your shit.